Hello everyone, welcome to my very first video of 2017. It's the Conservative Pelican, yours truly. In this video, I'm going to first give you a preview of what I'm working on for 2017. And then I'm going to talk to you about the current and future state of the North Carolina Republican Party. So what am I working on in 2017 this year? First thing is I am working on a blog entry, and my blog is entitled one word lowercase the conservative pelican .blogspot.com, and I will put that address down in the comments section of YouTube. And working on a blog entry for this the Republican Party of Florida, the chairman's race that will be coming up on the weekend of January 13th and 14th. The only thing I will tell you right now is that I will absolutely not be endorsing the current chair, Blaise Ingoglia, for a second term. And that's all I'm going to say about that right now. I have a lot of research, and I'm in the process of reaching out to Christian Ziegler as well as Alan Levy, the two other candidates for the chairman's job, and see what they have to say about what they want to do as chairman. Blaise and I never gotten along, and I don't see that changing, and I'm not reaching out to him. I just don't like the guy. Another thing I'll be working on is I want to finish someday, hopefully this year, my video analysis of the 2014 North Carolina Republican Party convention. The last couple of years there's been moving around a lot, and changing computers, changing software programs, just trying to learn this whole video production thing. It's not easy, but I'm trying. And another thing I'm going to be looking at is the 2016 RNC Rules Committee meeting that was held at the convention. And I think that's important to go over and analyze, because the problem is a lot of the people that get picked to be on Rules Committee, what happens is they go into the party convention. They'll go in 2020, and they won't know what happened during the last Rules Committee meeting for the convention. And I think that's not a good thing, and I want to be more transparent about it and really give you a thorough analysis of that. And then another thing I'm going to be working on is the going to do kind of a blog / database of how each of the 50 states does their political party business. Is it a state like North Carolina where you have county, district, state convention, or is it a state that is very what's the word I'm looking for? Top heavy, and only only 15 to 30 people do the business of the party. And is it a party like North Carolina, which is open session most of the time, or is it a party like Florida that does pretty much all the business in closed session? So there's the things we'll be working on in 2017. Now, let me get to the current state of the North Carolina Republican Party. Going into this year, in June, first weekend of June, there's going to be the state convention. North Carolina will have one every year. This year is an odd number year, and that means there's going to be an election for chairman. And analyzing this, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Right now you have Robin Hayes as chairman, and what happened is he's an older guy. He's 70, 71, I think. Looks like, if you ever see him in person, he walks with a cane and everything. He looks like he's about 10 to 15 years older. I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. I'm just, stating that people think he's a lot older than what he is. But Robin Hayes served as chairman. He was appointed by I believe, the Central Committee in spring 2011 after Tom Fetzer resigned. And then he got elected by the state convention delegates in Wilmington back in 2011. He served a 2-year term and then decided he did not want to run for another term in 2013. Fast forward a few years later, Hassan Hornet gets elected chairman at the 2015 state convention. Then, and unfortunately, in my opinion, he gets voted out by the state executive committee in April of 2016. And the vote was surprisingly very lopsided. It was about 280 to about 280 people who wanted Hassan thrown out, and then about 80 people who said keep him as chair. And the guy who, and then what happened after that was the executive committee voted on who they wanted to replace Hassan Hornet, and it was Robin Hayes. So Hayes has been chair since April of 2016, and I don't know whether or not he's going to run again. If he did decide to run again, honestly, I think the wind is at his back on this, because he has both times he's been party chair, both times he's been party chairman over the 2012 and 2016 presidential elections, North Carolina has gone Republican. So that's something that's in his favor. And also the state legislature, they've done very well in their elections when Robin Hayes has been chair. The only blemish, there are a couple blemishes on Hayes' record, though. North Carolina lost the governor's race just this past November, as in 2 months ago. Also, Robin Hayes has always been extremely disliked by the Tea Party and the libertarian wing of the Republican Party, with the whole 2012 RNC rules committee controversy. And you can watch that video. It's Carolina Liberty PAC YouTube channel for that. Another thing was he threatened state convention delegates who went to the national convention in Cleveland last year that if you don't support Trump, then you're not going to be able to ride back on my jet, which, is, Robin can do what he wants, and the convention delegates, ultimately, I think they had a bus that took them from Cleveland back to North Carolina, but still, these two things, the rules controversy and then the, threaten people to not speak their mind at convention, are two things, in my opinion, and a lot of people who supported Hassan Hornet in 2015 and 2016 do not think are good. Now, I don't know who else is going to run against Hassan Hornet. I wouldn't be surprised if the outgoing governor, now former governor, Pat McCrory, is going to run. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe A.J. Dowd would be a really good candidate. He has a lot of really good ties to not just the party establishment, but he also gets along pretty well with the Tea Party groups as well. The vice chair race, personally, I think Michelle Nix is in a very, very good position as vice chair, and I think she should continue that role from over the next 2.5 years as vice chair, because Michelle Nix has always been well liked by the establishment, but she's also always been well liked by the Tea Party, and with these party leadership positions, you really want somebody who is right down the middle and is going to be a bridge builder for all the different factions of the GOP, in my opinion. Now, she could run for chair. The problem with that is that the Central Committee, which is made up of the 13 district chairs as well as the president of your women's club, men's club, young Republicans, those are all very strong establishment. There's really only one person on the Central Committee who is pro-liberty, and that is Daniel Rufty in District 12. So if Michelle Nix was going to run for chair, she might have the same problem that Hassan did, which is the Central Committee may not be behind her and could throw her out. So the best thing I would say to do is we as the Reagan Tea Party Republicans, we have to work on really reforming the Central Committee, because ultimately that's who controls the party the most. And what I mean by reforming the Central Committee is you have to pick district chair people at the district conventions, and that's really the biggest thing with that Tea Party Republicans must do. In that. Now, on a more going back to my old stomping grounds in North Carolina, which is Wilmington, the county party, I have no clue who's going to run. Honestly, the county party, ever since I left a little over 2 years ago, has been regressing. It's become a lot more establishment. It's also the number of meetings have gone from monthly down to seems like quarterly now, and there's just not as many events being done by the New Hanover GOP that there used to be. The good news is there are a couple of people who worked in the McCory administration that are from the Wilmington area that, in my opinion, would make good, if they wanted to, would make very good chairman for New Hanover. And one is Rhonda Omarosa, who was previous chair from 2011 until, what was it? No, wait a minute. I'm trying to think. Yeah, 2011, and got reelected in 2013, but then got appointed by Governor McCory in the summer of 2013 and had to give up her term to Sam Ibrahim, who's another guy who I think did a good job. The thing about him is he works full time, has a family, so a lot of these chairman positions, even just county positions, require a lot of volunteer work or non-paid, and if you have a full-time job and family, it can be very difficult. District 7, Helen Panulo is the district chairwoman there. Personally, she's a nice lady. I like her as a person. I don't care much for her political decisions, though, because she was involved back in the 2012 RNC rules controversy. She's with the establishment people in that, which is your Ginsburg, your Romney people. But the neat thing about Mrs. Panulo is she's an example of how open and welcoming the North Carolina Republican Party is to newcomers, because her and her husband moved down from New Jersey, I believe about 15 years ago, and she started going to the Brunswick County meetings and then eventually got on the District 7 Executive Committee and did treasurer and secretary for a few years, vice chair, and then got all the way up to district chair. So that's an example of how people can definitely climb the ladder in North Carolina, whereas in Florida, it's very difficult in Florida. So if Helen Panulo wants to run, personally, if I had to make a prediction, I think she'll run again. Another couple candidates who I like, who I would vote. I wouldn't vote for Helen. Nice lady. Don't agree with her political thinking that well though. One I would have to say is Tammy Coville, who was on the New Hanover County School Board from 2012 to 2016. She'd be very good. Another couple people would be John and Pam Dismukes. John and Pam Dismukes are very, very well liked by everybody in the Republican Party, which is definitely what you want. Establishment and also the Reagan conservatives like them a lot. Tammy Coville is definitely another good candidate. But the thing about her though is she's very anti-establishment, which is good. But I'm just saying, giving you some analysis here, what I think is going to happen in District 7. Oh yeah, so the convention is in Wilmington, and I looked at hotel rooms, and no, I will not be able to attend. I'm working on take some college classes down here in Florida, and I hope to return in summer 2018 to North Carolina. But what I want those of you who are going to the convention to keep in mind is that hotels in Wilmington are super expensive. If you want a really rundown hotel where you have to stay with druggies, hookers, and all those people in a high crime area, yeah, you can get a cheap hotel. It'd be $50 to $75. But if you want a nice hotel, hotels they're starting at about $300 a night. But mainly the most bang for your buck is going to be about right around the $125 to $150 a night dollar range, and these hotels are your Holiday Inn, Country Inn and Suites, and those sort of caliber hotels. If you're like me and you're trying to stretch a buck and really are thrifty with your money, or you're lower income, your best bet for getting a hotel for the convention is actually to stay in Jacksonville, North Carolina, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away from Wilmington. And hotels there, you can get a really, really good hotel for only about $50 to $75 a night. So keep that in mind as you're planning to go to convention. Well, that's all I have to say right now. The conservative Pelican, Bobby Crawford. Happy New Year. Sign off.